In recent years, women have become more heavily focused within the entertainment industry, in front of and behind the camera. While this is certainly something to be celebrated, a problem I keep running into is that some of these stories we're seeing emerge don't necessarily feel organic and instead come off feeling forced. Rather than telling a well-thought-out story that happens to be about a girl, the story becomes solely about the fact that the girl, is a girl.
I need you to fix his suit.
The suit is literal perfection.
It will be. When it fits a woman.
The entertainment industry seems to be overcompensating for the way women have been marginalized in the media in the past. However, a show from the past is a perfect example of being able to find that balance of interesting storytelling alongside a pro-girl power message.
Need a hand?
No, thanks. I'm good.
The show is a personal favorite of mine called Buffy the Vampire Slayer. While diving into the way feminism is portrayed within the series in contrast with how it's portrayed in recent media, I want us to ask ourselves, should feminism be a massive showcase or an organic, comfortable transition? Now let's get the formalities out of the way. Buffy was a teen horror drama series that ran for 7 seasons from 1997 to 2003. The show follows Buffy, the latest in a long line of young women known as vampire slayers. There can only be one slayer at a time, and each time a slayer dies, another is called up and given power to defeat the fight against vampires and other evil. Unlike her predecessors, Buffy surrounds herself with friends and family who embark on her journey with her, not only helping her fight physical demons, but personal ones as well.
We save the world. I say we party.
The show was created by writer and director Joss Whedon. Whedon has said that he conceived the idea for Buffy from countless horror films where the dumb blonde wanders into an alleyway and gets killed or eaten by the monster. He thought, wouldn't it be cool if the blonde walks into the alley, the monster attacks, and she kicks its ass? Buffy is often praised for paving the way for female-led and feminist movies and shows. But how does that feminist portrayal hold up over 20 years later? Whedon said he wanted to make a feminist show but leave the politics out. He wanted to see a woman in charge and men who were not only comfortable with that, but also respected her. As a character, Buffy fits horror's blonde archetype perfectly. In fact, actress Sarah Michelle Gellar has played that role in other films like I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream 2. Buffy is hyper-feminine. She cares about fashion, boys, being homecoming queen, and going to the prom.
Yes, date and shop and hang out and go to school and save the world from unspeakable demons. You know, I want to do girly stuff.
She's the embodiment of the kind of femininity that horror and action typically despise. With Buffy, Whedon created someone who was a hero where she had always been a victim.
When it's dark and I'm all alone and I'm scared or freaked out or whatever, I always think, what would Buffy do? You're my hero.
Cinema and television today have tried to take on that same responsibility. Some have been executed well, while others have not. One particular trend that has emerged is this idea to try and masculinize femininity in order to make it more appealing to an audience, because apparently male role types are what studios think audiences want. And if the female in that media isn't a tomboy archetype, then she's generally over-sexualized, giving off the notion that women can only be one or the other, when in reality, there's no one way to be a woman. For example, Charlie's Angels is a story about 3 kick-ass women who are elite private investigators, and the original 2000 reboot was extremely popular. But taking a closer look, it's very obvious to see that this movie was directed by a man with intent to cater to the male gaze. People will come to watch 3 women in charge for sure, if they're half naked most of the time and actually not really in charge after all. In Buffy's case, she's a girl who likes to fight in her favorite halter top and leather pants, but the show never reverts to her using her sexuality to gain the advantage over her opponent. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with portraying sex-positive female characters, but when using your body as a sexual object becomes your only means to obtain the advantage, that's when it becomes problematic. Some would argue that fighting for women-led films and television shows is no longer an issue because, look, you guys have Captain Marvel. Remember that scene in Endgame where all the women teamed up? You guys got that. What more could you possibly want? You know what? You're right. We should be thankful that we were given a woman-led Marvel movie. I mean, it only took them doing 22 other male central films first to get here. And you know what would have been better than a 2-minute team-up in Endgame? An entire film about the female Avengers instead of awkwardly shoving them into a movie just so the studio can show how progressive they are. Hollywood hasn't suddenly embraced feminism simply because of the rise of quote-unquote strong female characters in action movies and blockbusters. It's not enough to simply stick a woman in the background of a movie poster. How a woman is portrayed within a film means just as much as putting them in one. Hollywood has created an illusion that a piece of media is feminist if the woman kicks ass and wins. However, a story can be feminist by showing a weak, vulnerable, and real woman that an audience can connect and relate to.
Giles, I'm 16 years old. I don't want to die.
In so many films, the strong female character is so one-dimensional because she is expected to represent all women. This makes it difficult to show her flaws as a human. Men get to be manipulative, abrasive, brilliant, whimsical, while the female characters get to be strong. Buffy is not perfect in any manner. Her flaws are plastered across the series. We see her highest of highs and lowest of lows. While the Slayer is meant to fight the cause alone, it is actually Buffy's relationships with her friends and family that set her apart and keep her alive from others that have come before her. Buffy is more than just a strong female archetype. She's funny, warm, calculated, trusting, and also strong.
No weapons, no friends, no hope. Take all that away, and what's left?
Me.
When looking to media today, I want to see well-rounded women that have different sides to them, not just the ideal woman. Paraphrasing from performance poet Guante, I want her to be free to express herself. I want her to have meaningful and emotional relationships with other women. I want her to be weak sometimes. I want her to be strong in a way that isn't about physical dominance or power. I want her to cry if she feels like crying. I want her to ask for help. And I want her to be who she is.
She's a hero, you see. She's not like us.